Good evening and welcome to NYE County. This is our February version, 2019. And my guest tonight is Tom Gibson. He made it.
Yeah, I have a problem sometimes with schedules. So last month was no different. So.
Well, I figured it was raining and, with your court stuff and
yeah, no,
all the rest.
I was telling you, I was preparing for a trial. I had a client in my office, and normally I would have just called you and told you I can't make it, but I was so caught up in it, I forgot completely until it was like 6:15, 6:30, and then said a few choice swear words, and off I went.
Okay, we're holding calls. What I want to do to start it off is a demonstration on how to make CBD oil out of the raw hemp. And I think we can go in a little bit after the demonstration on why and the benefits of the CBD oil. Now, I bought mine bag of hemp that was shucked from the stalk, and it's only the buds, I guess, that's in there. And I bought it from All About Hemp, which is on 160 at the Pistachio building there on the right. And they sell this infusion kit, they call it, which is basically a jar, an ounce of the hemp, avocado oil or coconut oil that's the carrier oil, and some sunflower lecithin, or lecithin,
I'll let you do that one.
which is just a cupful, and basically some coffee filters and things like that. But real quick, I want to go through how you do it. For me, I bought the pound worth, which is $500. And basically, you take a half a cup of the hemp, put it in a mason jar about this size. I'll put a little bit more in. That wasn't quite a half a cup. Okay, and then you put in the carrier oil, which in this case is avocado oil. And for that, I use a full, there it is, a full cup. Very simple to do. Just fill up the measuring cup and put it in there, spilling a little bit. And of course, I get every inch of oil out at home, so I don't waste any. And then finally the sunflower liquid lecithin. And this is good stuff for a lot of various ailments. It's good for the skin, good for actually people with Alzheimer's they're told to take it and things. And you put a spoonful of that in there.
It's like molasses.
Yeah, it's real thick. And all this stuff, the avocado oil can be replaced with coconut oil, or actually flaxseed oil or hemp oil or anything. But I like to use either avocado or coconut because it's very tolerant to heat. Okay, I'll make my hands all messy getting that out. So you put all that in the jar, the three things, and then you put the lid on and you shake it for about 30 seconds. Basically, you just want to mix it up. And then after it's done, you have a pot which is ready on the stove boiling, and you fill it up almost to the top. You want a slow boil on it, and then you set the jar in like that.
You mean with water, right?
Yeah, with water. And I put a lid on it because that prevents the jar from standing up. You want to keep enough water in it so that the jar doesn't touch the bottom, because it'll overheat naturally. So you keep that suspended in water and you cook it for about 3 hours. And that basically takes all this, or much of the CBDs out of the hemp and puts it and mixes it with the oil. Then after 3 hours, you take it out and you stand it up so that the CBD oil separates from the grounds for the most part. and you leave it sit for at least an hour. I usually leave it sit overnight. Then when you're done, in the morning after an hour, you take a strainer, put it on a coffee cup, and you pour the hemp in there, or the CBD oil that is clear by that point, and then you're left with the grounds, which still contains a lot of the hemp. Well, you put the hemp, then I spoon it into the strainer and take a spoon and press it down. And I do this for several minutes, let it sit, come back and press it some more, trying to get every drop of oil out of it. And then, you take that, put it in a bag or something, and then take the remaining and basically empty the jar. And you end up with something like 1 cup of the avocado oil produces about 6 ounces of pure hemp oil, or tincture they call it. And then there's a lot more of the oil, of course, still in the grounds, and the grounds itself has a lot of CBD. So I put that in soups or on salads and all the rest. And that's basically it. It's very simple to make. You can buy the stuff. Now this is what they call flowered or shelled flowers. And basically it's the hemp stalk that's been stripped, and the buds in that are what's in this bag. So it's basically refined ingredients. Anyway, that sells for 1 pound of it is $500, which makes tons and tons of hemp oil when it's mixed like that. For me, $500 worth will probably last 6, 7 years, something like that. So naturally, I give it for other people. A half pound is $300, a quarter pound $175, 2 ounces $100, and 1 ounce $60. Now you can make out of the oil, you can make a salve if you have some kind of skin issue. And again, it's very good for basically anything. I mix that with what they call shea butter, S-H-E-Y, butter, and also maybe some beeswax. And again, I put it in a jar, put it in the water, suspend it, and the beeswax and shea butter melt basically to a liquid, and then you mix it with the hemp oil and let it cool, and it produces a nice little wax that's really cool. This? Well, basically at the store. The owner's name is Jim McCoy. He's really a cool guy, laid back. Yeah, yeah. He's a hippy-dippy weatherman, but he's full of information, loves to talk about the stuff. And for me, I have cancer. Now my granddaughter, who's 10 years old, has cancer. I've researched all this cancer stuff. And one of the main proponents they're finding is these things called receptors that are on cells. And they got things they call monoclonal antibodies. And basically the immune system cell recognizes the cancer, and the receptors kind of fit in with the immune system cell. And they basically take these cells and make antibodies, which is the immune system attacking the cancer. And it's also called immunology, and all kinds of words now associated with it. But basically, one of the primary receptors on a lot of cancers is cannabinoids receptors. So it's very, very...
For the folks at home, cannabinoid is...
Is CBD. The hemp plant, by law, it can only contain 0.3% THC, which is the stuff that gets you high. The main ingredient in hemp is CBD, or cannabinoid. There's a whole system in the body called the endocannabinoid system, which basically centers around the brain, the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system. And also in many of the major organs in that. But this whole system kind of dictates to the body how to function. And they use these receptors, which are actually neuroreceptors or neurotransmitters. And it's amazing. The body is an amazing engine. And when you start looking into disease and cancer especially, it's amazing the tricks that are played by cancer, which can be countered now because we've got so much research and ability through technology to identify these different elements of the cell. And one of the main components of that research is cannabinoids now. Now, THC is also beneficial, but with or without the CBD, for me, I like CBD because it doesn't screw up my head. You know, there's no THC. It helps me sleep. I found a marked increase in my digestive improvement.
Sort of like watching Rush Limbaugh over CNN.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Jim today, I stopped by his store, and he was telling me how athletes, pro football player came in with a severe, I think it was his knee, and said, please, please, can this stuff help me? And he said, sit down, and he rubbed some of the salve on him, and the guy almost immediately was up. It's one of those miracle things,
right.
You know? And it really, really is working for people. I can't say it is a miracle cure for anything, but it certainly helps you sleep, etc. So I'm going to shut up. I've done my spiel.
Here's what I'm curious about. If marijuana, you know, CBD, and fights cancer, how did Bob Marley die of cancer?
Yeah.
Now, but there are those who believe that he was murdered.
Right.
And so that would explain it then.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go to break, and we'll open the lines up on the other side. But cancer is one tough customer, and I don't think there's any guarantee you're going to beat it. I've had it for 11 years and never had chemo or radiation or surgery, and I'm still here.
Yeah, well, a lot of it too is it's got to do with some people they have receptacles that receive cancer, and they're prone to it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Sure.
And other people, they don't, and you can give them nothing but carcinogens to eat 24/7,
Exactly.
and they won't get cancer.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to go to break now. We'll see you on the other side.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates.
To the top with those sky-high payments.
You can't forget about your debt.
Always fear, the debt suckers are here.
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 800-741-4587. 800-741-4587. That's 800-741-4587.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say so that they are safe.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
Hey, we're back in NYE County, and I'm Tom Gibson, Chuck Augustine, and I'm no longer just a guest, I'm a guest host, or something like that.
You're the man.
So anyway, we were chatting at the break about what we're going to be talking about for the show. If you've been watching it all, Andrew McCabe, the former disgraced and former FBI head, was on
60 Minutes.
60 Minutes, and he's also on The View.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He got his butt ripped open by what's her name, McCain's daughter.
McCain?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing he did on 60 Minutes, I got, are you kidding me, question marks. I did intelligence work for NSA for 22 years. This guy was with the FBI 21 and a half years. Miraculously, he went all the way through the ranks to the highest position in 21 years. That almost never happens. You're anointed by some higher power to those positions.
Kind of like Hillary in the presidency, only it just didn't work for her.
Sure. And the real power behind our government, and I personally hope Trump is legitimately fighting them, are the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the same people we've talked about with the Federal Reserve, with Big Pharma, the whole system.
Right.
They've controlled it. They still control it. Their families control it.
And well, it's driving them crazy because they. I don't believe that the deep state controls the government. I think they heavily influence it, but it can't be controlled because if they controlled it, there wouldn't be a President Trump. Those people, they have a very good ability to kind of extort and force their way and get people to do what they want. When Trump came along, they looked at him as more of an anomaly, and they weren't going to spend too much time on him. He got too powerful, too popular, too quickly, and they quite frankly didn't know how to deal with him. I think a lot of it was ignorance, because not only are these people, do they have all the money, but they don't have all the brains. They really aren't. I mean, if you meet with people like the Rothschilds and their IQs are not anything. I mean, they're not stupid people at all. They're very sneaky, but they're not gifted intelligence.
They're sociopaths, in my opinion.
Well, yeah,
and
they have to be.
They are brilliant at power, but all the details and that is really irrelevant because they have the power.
Right.
Okay, we have Roxanne on the phone. Roxanne.
Hey, Chuck, how are you?
Good. How you doing? Long time no hear.
Yeah, I've just been hanging around. I'm very interested in the CBD oil. Right now I'm on a plant-based whole foods diet, and I'm drinking juice. I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm going to hang up so that I can go listen to it. I watched your demonstration of how to make CBD oil. I have purchased some, 2 ounces for $100 from the store across from the post office, and I've done it for a little while. I just wanted to see, what it might do for me, because I hear people raving about it. Anyway, the question is how much are you supposed to take? Are you supposed to take? Now mine is 1,200 milligrams, but I don't know for how much. 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops. It doesn't say. It came with no instructions.
All right.
So how much do you take for different things? If you could explain that, if you know. And I'm going to hang up now and let you answer that. Thank you, and thank you for doing that demonstration, too.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Okay, I'm going to go watch.
Okay. Before this store came about and I learned how to make it myself, I paid $220 for a 1 ounce bottle, which I believe the stuff I make is far better at having an effect on me than the $220 stuff. If I worked it out right, making it myself works out to about $10 an ounce. Dirt cheap compared to anything you're going to buy pre-made. My feeling is I buy these 2 ounce bottles with droppers, and I fill a dropper every night before I go to sleep and put it under my tongue and just let it sit in my mouth for a little bit. And I sleep like a log. Amazingly better sleep than before I started doing it. I've also started taking some in the morning. And what I'm doing is basically trying, and I do it every day, by the way. And again, for $10 an ounce, you can't beat it, because that ounce is going to last me at least a month, probably more. So it's dirt cheap. And what I want to do is keep a good amount in my system at all time. And everything I've read, there is really no negatives I've come across, only positives. And it affects, like I say, neurotransmitters in your nervous system and peripherals, which affects the organs, etc. And by closing these CBD receptors, it just makes the whole thing work more efficient. It's kind of like getting a tune-up on your car. And it certainly does promote cancer cell death. It makes it more difficult for the tumors to break away and metastasize to other parts of your body, which is what normally really kills the people. And it contains the growth of tumors as it's helping, to actually destroy the cells.
It's my understanding that there's what's known as a mother cell in a person with cancer. And the reason that people always eventually die of cancer is because the chemo and the treatment, the radiation, it rarely, if ever, even touches the mother cell. And if you kill the mother cell, or if you can do that, then you're cured. At least you're on the road to help.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't get the mother cell, it's just going to keep reoccurring. Now, that said, I'm thinking that if a person that constantly but kept it in your system at a certain level, that if there was a mother cell, that might very well keep the mother cell in check. I don't know though.
Right.
I don't think that's the only I can think of that would stop it from reoccurring.
Yeah, all cancer is a mutation. And cells are constantly dividing. They call it mitosis. What cancer is it's a mutation that prohibits the natural functions of proteins in that to stop the division at a certain point. And it also stops this thing called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. So with cancer, you have a cell that just keeps dividing way beyond what it's supposed to, with no checks on it, and it's not dying. So that you got this blob that is growing and growing. And the mutations affect these things called tumor suppressors, which basically regulate, I don't want to get too deep in it, but basically DNA has been screwed up when it's translated to RNA, which actually makes the proteins that control all the aspects of a cell's function, and also controls this apoptosis and cell division. So some of the other proteins in a cell, which may have several thousand proteins, each cell is an amazing machine and far more complicated than we envision it, It's an amazing thing. The whole body is amazing. But the more you can correct these functions of the partner cells that control and regulate it, the better chance you have of stopping the tumor. Once the tumor gets to a certain point, it is contained initially to cancer cells, but then it incorporates what they call a stroma, and these supporting cells and signaling pathways and blood vessels and all the rest, and it becomes this organism beyond cancer. There are cancer cells, but the vast majority of a tumor is not cancer. It is the other cells that's been co-opted into supporting it.
Okay. So but it is an abomination. It's not supposed to be there.
Absolutely.
And that's why it grows and grows and uncontrolled.
Right. And we have cancer throughout our lives. That's not a myth. That is absolutely a fact. And these tumor suppressors are constantly identifying them, correcting them inside the cell. And if they can't be corrected, they got an immune system then that identifies it and kills it, basically.
Interesting.
So it's an enormously difficult thing to find a cure for. I used to think they were just, hiding the cure. But the more I've researched it, I do believe it is very hard. I also believe there is a cure, because all these difficult things about cancer opens up ways you can cure it, If you can cut off the blood supply, you cure cancer. If you can stop this cell separation, the division, you cured cancer.
Right, but you can't do that without killing the body. I mean,
well, that's the thing. The chemo they give you kills not only the cancer, but the whole body.
But it doesn't kill the chemo does not affect the mother cell, because so my understanding is that because I think it's drawn out of the mother cell.
Now, it does get the mother cell cancer cell. It basically attacks any cell that divides rapidly.
Okay.
And that's why most people get real nauseous, because stomach cells live 4 to 5 days.
Well, then how does anyone get cancer in Pahrump then? I mean, you said any cell.
Well, that's true. But your hair follicles go, that's a rapid cell, and all the rest. Okay, Amy, we got you on the line.
Hi. I've been trying this to see if some of my insomnia, when the weather changes, improves, and it has. And like you, I've noticed some differences in digestion. Roxanne brought up a good point about how much does it take. The stuff that she probably bought, I don't know, I haven't seen it, is a minuscule of oil compared to what you make. If a person wants to make a stronger strength the way you showed, they might just reduce the avocado oil or the coconut oil to get more of the CBD. Another thing, when I was in the store, I asked what was the THC balance in the hemp product that was being sold in the store, and he said that he has bred the THC out of his hemp.
Right.
So he doesn't even have the 3%.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Amy has been taking it, what, a couple weeks now?
Probably 3 weeks.
And she found the same thing. Ray the Flag Man found the same thing, that it really has helped our sleep and digestion and other aspects.
Yeah, it took about a week for it to take effect, but once it did, I did notice that I was sleeping all the way through, where a good night's rest, I would wake up once. But with the CBD, I'm sleeping straight through, and I'm waking up really refreshed and really relaxed.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. I feel
yeah,
unbelievably relaxed when I wake up.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay, Amy, we're going to have to go to break here. You want to hang on?
I'll go ahead and hang up and let somebody else call in.
Okay.
But those are the things I wanted to add.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Amy.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to break. We'll see you on the other side.
Hey, you.
Me?
Yes, you. Do you want the fastest internet in Pahrump?
Yes.
Valley Communications has the fastest internet for streaming video.
But can I binge watch my favorite programs?
Yes, of course. It's perfect for binge watching, and you can stream as much as you want. No overages, no data limits, and no buffering with Valley Communications internet.
I'll sign up today. But how?
Visit valleycom.com or call 775-727-5312. Don't wait. Get the fastest internet in Pahrump and binge away.
All across America, there are kids going hungry. It sounds crazy, but it's real. It's also a problem we can fix. Nobody should go hungry in America, especially kids. Let's make No Kid Hungry a reality.
Are you looking for just the right pre-owned vehicle? Well, the Saida Trudeau Shopper has made it easy. Tune into your local TV station on Channel 46 and Cable 12, 7 days a week at 7 a.m. We want only to be the best.
Attorney Jonathan Elson, reminding you that if you've been injured in an auto accident, it's important to have somebody on your side. So remember, no matter your problems, when you need a lawyer,
you need Nelson.
Oh, buddy. Hey, we're back. This is NYE County, Tom Gibson, Chuck Augustine, and we're talking about eclectic areas like CBD oil, and we touched on McCabe's politics.
Right.
Yes. Did you go to the commission meeting today?
I watched it.
Okay, and Arlette Newvine is who I used to work with me in my office. I rented office space to her, and good kid. She I understand she saved the Tigers
With
again.
the Tigers.
Yep.
The Tigers are saved. It took a whole lot of hours of commission meeting, but they are saved. Mac, we got you on the line, buddy.
Dr. Augustine, it is a treat to hear you describe the functions of the human body. I really enjoy it. But since we're on a medical kick, I thought I'd call up and remind you and also tell the listeners, in case they're interested, anybody who has neuropathy. I have neuropathy, and it's the old thing about the pins and needles on the feet and so on. I don't like drugs. I don't like taking drugs or chemicals that have side effects. The list is so long I could go on for days. But I did find out from a friend of mine who has full-blown diabetes, and he uses this in order to get rid of his neuropathy. So I gave it a shot, and believe it or not, within a week or so, I have not had neuropathy again. It's been a couple of years now. But what this material is, you can get it at Walmart. You don't have to go to a drugstore. You don't have to pay large prices. You don't have to worry about all the side effects. It's called alpha-lipoic acid, A-L-P-H-A, lipoic, L-O-P-I-C, acid. It's a tablet, it's a pill. It only costs $8 for a supply of them. I forget if it's 100 or 200 in the bottle. But if you take them according to instructions, if you have neuropathy, start by taking one with each meal 3 times a day. And I would say after it goes away, right now I'm on what I consider maintenance. I go 1 pill maybe a day, sometimes 2, and I've had no more neuropathy. So anyway, I just wanted to hit you with that, and maybe some of our listeners will stop having to chase drugs around.
And you told me about it, and I took it, and my pins and needles went away also.
Yep, that's good. Well, okay, Dr. Augustine, I'll let you go, and talk to you later.
Okay, the bill's in the mail.
I understand the concept. Right now, marijuana has recently been legalized, so people are kind of like nowadays with pot like they were with booze back in the 1930s and 40s after Prohibition was rescinded. And they're like, they're really trepidatious about letting people see them or even talk about pot. But that said, I think that if some people are inclined to want to get a buzz. I'm not talking about like they have to get snot flying drunk, but I'm talking about they like booze because they like the buzz, and they like marijuana because they buzz, they like other drugs because of the buzz. If a person is so inclined and needs to have that buzz, better a marijuana buzz than an alcohol buzz, because with marijuana you smoke a little bit like, say, now. In an hour from now, you're okay again. I mean, you're not totally, clear-headed, but depending on how much you smoked and the strength of it and whatnot, and you can keep that, a slight buzz going all day. When you do that with booze, after an hour, you want to go to bed. Okay.
Or get in a fight.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I bought a friend of mine a bottle of 25-year-old Scotch, and he, try some. And it was like, like 10 in the morning. I'm like, I just wanted to see what it tasted like, something that good. So I took a little taste, and I said to him about an hour later, I said, you know what? I go, I want to either play a video game or get in a fight.
Yep.
So, but anyway, that said, the using marijuana to get high, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. People shouldn't be afraid to say they do that.
Right.
And number two is that I think that if it's a twofer. You're getting the benefits of the THC, or I'm sorry, the what is it?
THC for marijuana.
Right. I'm sorry, not THC, but the CBD.
CBD.
You're still getting CBD though.
And both, yeah. You're getting THC and CBD.
Yeah, it's a twofer. So I don't know why people are like all worried about doing one. I mean, hell, just fire up that old hookah and cure yourself from all kinds of diseases.
Ray, what do you think of all this?
Yeah, Ray the Flagman here. Well, I've been checking out that CBD oil, and it is very positive effects as far as sleeping. I mean, it doesn't knock you out; it just relaxes you enough. And you really ought to emphasize that this is completely legal. Because when people hear hemp, all of a sudden they say, boy, this crazy Augustine, he's on the air and he's promoting us to use this stuff. Federally, it's legal now, hemp. We can actually grow it in Nevada, and it has been grown for other reasons besides CBDs. They use it, the hemp, for different materials. It's a very positive thing. And I just want to explain to people that this is not something to be afraid of.
No, as a matter of fact, Ray, I'm sure you're familiar with King Cotton back in the 1840s and 50s, is when the cotton farmers in the United States became so powerful, and they wanted to make pardon the pun, they weeded out competition, and their main competition was hemp growers, and that's what they did. They drove hemp out completely and basically made them nothing but more of an afterthought, and now it's coming back. And now I got nothing against cotton, but if between hemp and cotton, I think hemp is way more practical for being able to be used for multiple purposes.
Well, to touch on marijuana for a minute, and this is, I call into a show every Monday night whenever Dr. Reiner is on, and I try to make the point, and I really believe this, that in 1937, if the government did not ban marijuana and make it illegal, we would probably have a cure for cancer right now, because people would have been researching it, they would have been trying different aspects of it. And the government actually defrauded the citizens of this country and deprived them of something very important. And you will probably find in 5 or 10 years from now that this is probably the answer to solving cancer. And that's my opinion, and I call it into the doctor's show, and I hope people do not look negative as far as marijuana.
And Ray, also, Big Pharma is not just a recent blight on humanity. Big Pharma has been around since the 1930s and before that, and basically that's what happened. You got big money who sided with cotton and the other drugs that they could own and control, and that's where you got a lot of the problem that we have now with these big pharmaceutical companies that control what medications we have. The last thing they wanted was marijuana being legalized, because then, gee whiz, you might cure yourself for because that's why problem with medicine and chiropractics and other areas. If you cure someone, you cured them and they are very happy. If you treat them, you have a buddy for life.
That's right.
A body for life.
You're right. Big Pharma's a major player, and they're making sure that they're going to milk every dollar out of us, and they're not going to look for natural cures or things that God has provided on this planet. That's what they're all about. Now, one other thing, Chuck, you had mentioned as far as Roxanne, you said a little bit, it doesn't take much in an eyedropper to be effective as far as I see. It's just like a couple, 1/3 of an eyedropper a couple times, and you sleep longer, more relaxed. And there's no high to this. This is important. I don't want to get high, and I bet you a lot of other people are afraid of getting high. So that's one thing about the CBD oil that I believe is very positive, and I want people to know it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what I tried to say to Roxanne and everyone else, experiment with it. I wouldn't take a whole lot, a couple eyedroppers full the first time.
Yeah, don't use the shot glass when you're doing it. Use an eyedropper.
Isn't Tommy Chong a big advocate of this stuff too?
I got another thing I want to point out. This jury trial last week was outrageous. A fellow was convicted in this valley of protecting his own property because he exhibited a gun, a rifle, to run a guy off his property was causing him hell. And this is going to set precedent, Tom, because now everybody's going to be afraid to even protect their own property. There was nobody shot. There was no shots fired. And yet this jury found this guy guilty. He's a 73-year-old guy. This happened when he was 69. And I think it's outrageous. And I want to ask you, can you tell me or explain a directed verdict? Because I believe Lane should have pulled that and told the jury, I'm going to have a directed verdict. This guy defended his own property.
Right. Well, a directed verdict is a civil law thing. You're talking about an advisory verdict. An advisory verdict in criminal law is, because a directed verdict means you don't have a choice, you have to rule a certain way. And you might be able to get away with that in a civil case, but if a judge just started telling people they had to convict somebody or had to acquit somebody, imagine that. So it's an advisory verdict, and what the judge will do is he'll read to the jury in their jury instructions. He'll say, I've seen the evidence. I personally don't think there's enough there to convict beyond a reasonable doubt. However, you're the jury. But if you do, you're silly, but you're still the jury. Okay, that's what an advisory verdict is. And whenever you have, I only asked for one of those once, and the judge laughed, and he said, this is going to be an acquittal. They're going to be out 5 minutes. Well, the next day, it was a hung jury, and I looked at him, and I kept giving him these looks, and he goes, I'm dismissing this case. He dismissed it. He did the right thing. But don't ever trust a jury to do the right thing, because they're just 12 people out of random walks of life from the county, and you have some really good people, and you got some complete dolts. You've got people that believe everything a cop says. You have people that don't believe anything a cop says.
I think that was the problem in this one. They believed the cops and not the defendant when he was on the stand. He made a good case on what happened exactly, but there was nobody injured, nobody actually assaulted other than the defendant. You know, this fellow came in his driveway, you know, and tried to raise hell. And just, it was a bad decision, and I think it's going to affect a lot of people.
Who was that? Jorger? Was he the lawyer?
Percival was the lawyer.
Who?
Percival.
Oh, Brent Percival. Okay.
Brent Percival.
Yeah. I didn't see it, and I mean, I knew that a trial was coming up because, I mean, he became the gentleman you're speaking of became a real fixture around the courthouse, right. and which is real bad luck. I mean, because every person I've ever seen that shows up at the courthouse and makes a sort of a fixture of themselves. When they have a pending court case, I always see them walking off in shackles later.
Okay, Ray, we got to go to break.
All right. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And we'll see you on the other side.
All right.
I mean that on the
Hey, Ace Country listeners, you can now catch Ace Country Radio on KPVM TV, channel 46.7. Catch me, Fitz, F-I-T with a Z, in my radio show on the TV. Send your livestock, your pigs, your cows, your donkeys, whatever it is, your favorite pet videos or photo to mobileburn@gmail.com. That's mobileburn@gmail.com. We're going to upload the videos and play them on the TV. Wait. Yes, I said on TV. That's right, you and your animals. Getting all famous and stuff. Send Ace Country those funny videos of the creature around the farm or the house. You could win a date with me, Fitz, on the air. Actually, you could actually win a pair of concert tickets for the best entry because I'm a married man. Happily married man. I got a bunch of babies and I got a bunch of animals. So I might be sending my videos too. It's an all call, y'all. Get out the camera, shoot some videos, or take a photo of those creatures and those animals. There is not a time limit.
A killer could be in your home, threatening your family, and you wouldn't even know it. That killer is radon, an odorless, colorless, naturally occurring radioactive gas that's the #1 cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. But with a simple test, radon problems can be detected, fixed, and your family protected. Call, click, or stop by one of our offices through the end of February for your free radon test kit. Radon is a health risk that's preventable, so test for it today.
Wonder if you should get tested for colorectal cancer?
Is it really that common?
It is. It's the second leading cancer killer in the U.S.
I don't have symptoms.
It doesn't always cause symptoms, especially early on. And screening helps prevent the disease.
Oh? How?
by finding precancerous polyps so they can be removed.
But that test.
There's more than one screening test. If you're 50 or older, talk to your doctor about which one is right for you. Colorectal cancer screening really does save lives.
And I think we're back, for our last segment. And here in NYE County, Tom Gibson again, Chuck Augustine. And I was just talking to Chuck. I have a case. I can't really discuss it because it's going to be in litigation very soon. I have filed a complaint, and the defendant was called Topix, T-O-P-I-X, and we got. I sued them for things that someone put some horrible things about some clients of mine that weren't true, but it's called per se violations. And they were claiming that one of them gave the other one AIDS, and even if it were true, which it's not, but if it were true, that's one of the a per se violation is an exception to the truth is an offense to disparagement. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, so I sued Topix. And
which was a website.
Yeah, kind of like Facebook, only not so.
Right.
And so they're like, please let us out, please let us out. I'm like, well, all I need is names and contact information, IP addresses of certain individuals who wrote these things, and I got them today. And that's what happened. So now I'm dismissing them out of my case because they were good. They were good people.
Topix,
yep,
okay.
Yep, they did what I asked. And then, and now I've got a list of about a dozen people who are all going to find out what it's like to be a defendant in a court case for 4 years.
And that's why I've never been a fan of social media, because there are so many idiots that just feel they can hide behind, their so-called anonymous identity and say anything, and they just...
It's very cowardly.
Yeah, it is. And it got to the point, like the Pahrump Valley Times did away with their comments. And I have no problem with it because the people were so incredibly vicious and, untruthful. They're just making up crap. So that's the shame of our society. And on the other hand, social media is great because you don't have to rely on mainstream media.
Yeah, no, I know.
But you got to weed through the information.
It's just like anything else in life. God gives us everything, and we just have to be able to learn how to use it. And if we don't learn how to use it, then it's wasted. And it's the same thing with what you're talking about. I mean, the information is there. Mm-hmm. How we process it is another story.
And again, it all ends up, in my mind, to perception. We can watch an accident, we both are really truthful, we're paying attention, and you see one thing, I see something totally different.
And that's like, look at politics. I mean, Donald Trump will get on TV and he'll talk for 5 minutes, and probably 52% of the country are nodding their heads and saying, yep, yep, yep. And 48% are like tearing and ripping at themselves and hate him so badly. But they can show a demon like Hillary on there, or what do they call her? Occasional cortex. Do they also call her that? Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. But yeah, occasional cortex. Remember that one. Well, occasional cortex. I mean, people like her. I mean, she's not as stupid as people think she is. I think she's like ADHD, and she talks faster and the words are coming out. And after she said something, she goes, "Oh God, I stepped in it again." Okay, that's her. And but people like her need to be not stopped. I mean, we need people.
Yeah, we need
radicals on both ends. But at the same time, don't believe your own bullish.
Well, here's my view of everything. I see her as the, what do they call it, the symbol of the left now. Trump is the symbol of the right. If you strip away the ideological aspects of both have excellent points, I feel. But the extremism that's built around them makes their points, in some cases, absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
There's a middle ground that is now so amazingly far from the two movements, which have gotten further and further, to the left and the right, that middle ground is almost ignored.
That middle ground that you're talking about is gone by the wayside, just like middle class is
Exactly.
gone by the wayside.
Exactly.
And because, yeah, here's what I don't understand though. I can't understand socialism, and if somebody's out there that can explain it to me, and communism, it's like, in theory, it's a great idea. To each according to his needs. The government helps everybody. Well, okay, that's great. But if you're in the party, you get helped. Your needs are different than if you're not in the party. If you are in politics and you're not just party politics, but I mean you're like, say, what's it? Yeltsin, Gorbachev, and
Brezhnev?
No, the one that's there now.
Oh, Putin.
Putin, yeah. Putin, I'm sure in Soviet Russia when he was with the KGB, I'm sure things were a lot better for him than they were for the average Russian. I know they were. And why is that? Because it's all placement. So what the Russians and the communists do is they replace the wealthy upper class with just a upper class political group.
Right.
And they have the same sloth and same bad habits and same desire to steal other people's stuff as the Rothschilds or any of the
exactly.
capitalists.
Okay, Ray, is that you again?
Yeah, Ray the Flagman. I figured somebody'd call in this last segment. I says, I got a few more things to say, so I might as well take advantage of the situation. First of all, I want to compliment Lisa Shamley on what she's doing in Justice Court. She's in Department A, because, I mean, that place has been chaotic for a long time, and she's putting some sense into the system again. She's not putting things off for a week or 2 weeks. She's doing it within 3 days. If someone's in custody, she doesn't say, okay, district attorney, you got 7 days to file charges. She has it in 3 days. She's also done away with the jail sentences if you don't do everything you're supposed to. What she's been doing is she's been allowing them to, especially with fines, do community service. You got to treat the people with some respect. I don't care if they're in some kind of trouble or whatever. Tom, have you noticed that as far as Justice Court, Lisa Shamley?
I am extremely pleased with Lisa. I mean, Lisa and I are good friends anyway, but the difference between Lisa and other judges here historically, Lisa, except for Ron Kent, is an attorney. The other JPs here have not been lawyers, so they don't understand how things work, and so they kind of just do it their own way, and no one ever calls them on it. Or if they're called on it, it's way past the time, fact, and it's not that the justices of the peace are doing, like, they're bad people. It's just that they never learned the law from our perspective, from lawyers' perspective. So Lisa's looking at this, or Judge Shamley's looking at this from a former lawyer, and she's going, okay, when I was an attorney, what were the problems? And she knows what they are. And so she's trying to fix those to make those better. Like Judge Jasperson does a pretty good job. I like him. He's a good judge. But he would have been a fantastic judge, even better than that if he'd had a law degree, because, again, the judges don't understand how certain things work sometimes, and you can't explain it to them. It's like their court, and the attorneys are trying to say, no, Judge, you can't do this because of the Higginbottom rule. Well, whatever rule that is, I'm not going to do it. It's like, okay. And then you have to file a writ to district court to set aside what they did. Well, it all takes weeks and sometimes months. And so it's nice to have a judge that's right on top of it. And she's also, you're right, treating people with respect and following the law. And I have to complain a little bit. When Ron Kent first became judge, I thought, oh, good. Finally, we have a judge that was an attorney and understands how it works. I never saw anybody worse. He didn't. Whatever he learned as a lawyer, he forgot when he was sworn in as a judge.
Well, the amazing thing I see about Lisa, she works on Fridays.
Yeah.
That's been, for some time now, nobody has been doing Fridays. And
well, wait a minute. Time out. Judge Wonker is like, she works about 80 hours a week.
oh no, I'm talking about justice court.
Okay.
I'm talking about justice court. It seems like it's forbidden to do anything on Friday. Now, when Brisbane was in there, if there was a prelim and a mandatory 15 days, you can demand a preliminary hearing, and she would do it on the following Friday because she worked on Fridays. Now, it hasn't been that case. I see some cases 25 and 30 days put off. The guy's sitting in a slammer. He's in shackles.
Well, yeah, but Ray, I'm not going to blame Gus on that. Judge Sullivan, at least, I mean, he volunteered. He didn't even get paid to do the job. I mean, he was doing it as a service to the county.
I'm not just talking about A. I'm talking about A and B. Let's work on Friday.
Okay, we're getting close, Ray.
Say again?
Getting near the end.
Okay, well, that's my points. And once again, the Tigers are saved, and I hope this is the last time we got to fight this battle. So keep the faith, power to the people. I enjoyed the show tonight. Ray the Flagman, signing off. Over and out.
All right.
Okay. Here's my complaint about the justice system. There is no justice.
No.
The same about the health care system. There is no health care.
Correct.
We are living under a con, an illusion that projects all this. We all have our roles to play. We talked off camera about the gap between the haves and the have-nots. It just keeps growing. Injustice keeps growing. And all the people that are involved, as I was in the military, we are trees that can't see the forest. We are a part of the forest, supporting the forest, but we can't see it, you know?
Yeah, there's something fatally wrong with all of these systems, and they all need to be fixed or just thrown out and start over. Because, you know, it's like, you know, the criminal justice system, again, you're right. There's no justice in criminal justice. It's expediency.
Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah, oh, it is. And the reason most people don't ever win in justice court, because justice courts, by their very nature, the lower courts around the country, it's a revenue enhancement for the county. All these people are out there, they tax them basically. You speed, you do something silly, you get taxed. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I understand why they do it, but it's not right.
Right. Okay, we got to go. This is went so fast, I can't believe it.
Yeah, God damn.
So we'll see you next month. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Looking for that perfect pre-owned car, truck, or SUV? Maybe you found one online, then drove 100 miles to see it, only to find out it wasn't what was represented or what you expected. Maybe you need financing, not sure what you qualify for, or don't even know where to start. Start at PahrumPCars.com. Search from hundreds of top quality pre-owned vehicles in Southern Nevada, see multiple pictures of every angle, get a free vehicle history report, even get pre-approved. Find the right one on PahrumPCars.com. We'll even bring it to you. All of our ready-to-deliver vehicles go through a rigorous safety inspection, are road-tested, sound-tested, and reconditioned to maximize dependability and affordability. Start your search on PahrumPCars.com, then click or call. Brought to you by Pahrump Valley Auto Plaza, where you'll find the right car and we'll bring it to you.
Auto Plaza. Hometown service at a low, low price.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
John Air carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call John Air.
Linux. Innovation never felt so good.
If you have any paperback books that are in good condition, why not donate them to Nevada Cure, an organization that provides books to Nevada state prisoners? Nevada Cure is a prison